Hello everybody, welcome to the SummitBid Gallery. On today's video, I'm just kind of take a look back at the year that was 2020 when it came to my photographs. 2020 was a unexpected and very interesting year, I think, for everybody, and there were lots of hard things going on, but I did manage to get out a decent amount of times and continue to grow and expand my craft, and I'm proud of the little collection I've put together here. And so I kind of figure we'll kind of go through these shots. These are kind of my favorite shots of the year, I think I'm going to go over chronologically rather than like from least favorite to most favorite, just because it will. The narrative that was the year will come out, I think, a little bit better that way. I actually don't know that I have a favorite shot per se. Maybe I can kind of call it in the midst of this video, but they were interesting and unique situations, and I'm ready to kind of dive into this, what I hope will be an annual tradition where I kind of break down the shots that were of the year. So we're gonna jump right into, this was late February. So this is a shot of Longs Peak in Rocky Mountain National Park, kind of from the northwest of Longs. And I shot this with a 7200, I believe. Yes, 7200 at 200. And it was a really cold morning. We had tried to hike into a lake in Rocky Mountain National Park. Most of these shots are going to have corresponding vlogs on our channel. I'll have them linked in chronological order down in the description, so that you can go check them out and kind of see the whole story, what happened. There's a couple of shots in here that didn't have a vlog to go with it, and I'll kind of talk about that. But it was a cold morning. We didn't make it all the way to the lake. The snow conditions were really hard, and I had a pretty significant knee injury back in January, and this was late February here, and so we didn't quite make it with the snow conditions and the way everything was. I didn't want to push it, but on our way back, this frosty Longs moment was happening, and I liked the way that the trees were kind of silhouetted in front of it, and it to me, it's the detail of a shot like this. You can kind of zoom in and see the how cold it looked, and the wind kind of blowing around near the summit there, and the texture of the ridge, and it's actually not a black and white shot. This is actually still in color. It just was kind of a gray day, and that's kind of what it looked like. This next shot was from, I think it was just a week later. Yeah, this was March 6th. So yeah, just a week later. We went back, we kind of changed up our equipment. I kind of rested and recuperated, and we got to this lake, Lake Helene, I believe. And this is Notch Top Mountain, and we got there for sunrise, and I just really liked the way that the orange was reflecting in the ice, and there was this flowing as it flows out into a creek there, and I just this is a kind of a fun shot with nice lines, nice ice, but the mountain still looks really cool. And this was with the Canon EOS R. The last one was with the EOS R as well, with the 15-35. So probably right now I can take a second to talk about what was going on with my gear throughout the year. So early in 2020, news started breaking that the EOS R5 was coming out, and I have always Canon's been my favorite. I've been using Sony for several years now, Sony and kind of a combination of Sony and Nikon, because they were further ahead than Canon, but it looked like Canon was going to catch up, and I always have Canon. I think in Canon, I like Canon, the way that it works. I like the Canon color. I know people say it's not real, it is real, and So I was excited, and so I decided in January to start switching over to Canon. And the EOS R5 obviously wasn't out. It wasn't going to come out for 6 months, but I wanted to go ahead and get into the system, get the lenses going. So I got the EOS R5, the EOS R, excuse me, the Canon EOS R and the 7200 and 15-35 to kind of get off the ground. And but then the pandemic came and I was a little less sure about things. I hadn't sold all my Sony gear yet. So I kind of backed out. So like starting with these next few shots, I'm still in Sony. And then finally over the summer, I was, looking at the R5, looking at things, and I'm like, yes, I really do want to do this for a variety of reasons. It simplified my system quite a bit. I'm now shooting all zooms, and it's a smaller, lighter setup, just in general, than I was shooting with Sony, because I had a lot of primes, and it was just kind of a bloated system. And I've streamlined that, and I'm excited to go into 2021 with that streamlined system. But so these first two shots were EOS R5, whereas EOS R, and then we're back to the A7R4 with this next shot, which is of this is South Crestone Lake. So we left on a Sunday evening, Colorado Springs on a Sunday evening, drove in, and then hiked in the dark for 4 or 5 hours to get to this lake. Pitch dark, but I wanted to get some astro shots. So we went and we stumbled around the lake. I couldn't see these mountains that are in this shot at all. That's kind of interesting. Like, I had no idea really what I was shooting. I knew the stars were out, but I couldn't really even see the form of them. But I had on my phone, I had a kind of a map. So I looked at it and I got to a place where I could find a direction to shoot. I set up, and this was with the 24-1.4 G Master. And then I just started taking shots, and like, I barely had to do much composition adjustment. It was kind of amazing that it just was like, and then the Milky Way was right behind it. It's kind of a mind-blowing situation, and so fun to be able to kind of experience it that way, where you're looking at pitch dark, and then the photography brought it forward. So with this, I took 2 shots. This is an exposure blend. I took, with the 24, I took I believe, I'm just thinking back, a 15-second exposure of the sky, and then I took a 7-minute exposure of the foreground just right after it. And then the Milky Way had moved maybe just a little bit from just over the summit when in the other one with the of the sky. And then I was able to blend them pretty seamlessly. It hadn't, the sky hadn't shifted too much, so and I kind of painted in the foreground to not be so noisy. So I eventually will print this one, and then this next shot, it may look familiar. It's right up there. This was the next morning, and we went down to the lake. We shot sunrise, and the lighting was amazing. And then I kind of started looking around me, and I could see up behind me this hill. And I'm like, you know what? I want to go up and get some shots while the light's still good. So I grabbed my camera and the 70-180 Tamron, and just kind of jogged up the hill. And when I got up there, I could see that the situation actually called for a wider focal length, even in panorama, than the 70 millimeters. I had the widest I have was 70. I think I was kind of expecting to do more detail shots, maybe of this peak here, so I did a multi-row panorama, and it's kind of created this huge. This is a 200 some odd megapixel image, and yeah, I really like the color. I like the depth of it, the detail of it. You can zoom in here and see Toby on the shore, where this is where we shot sunrise from. So that's kind of fun, and I really like the feeling of the shot. It's kind of a peaceful, colorful Colorado mountain morning. So, and then one more shot from that trip. This is probably my favorite black and white of the year. As the day progressed, we were there for a few hours, and it got a little hazy, and I just really liked the zigzagging lines of this composition. This is with the Zeiss Batis 40 millimeter, and kind of this the way the light was hitting, but you have this really interesting textured rock foreground, and these plants in the foreground, but the kind of the haze kind of spotlit this peak, which it's interesting. This peak, Mount Adams is very close to it, but this is not actually Mount Adams. It's kind of a sub peak of it that doesn't have a name that I'm super able to figure out. But it's close to Mount Adams. We can, it's kind of part of that ridge system of Mount Adams down in the Sangre de Cristos. It's something else I wanted to mention was that the time difference between these shots. So if we go back to this Astro shot, this was taken on June 15th. And then the previous shot was March 6th. So you can kind of see the lockdown and the gap there where not much happened other than staying at home and trying to stay safe. So, okay, so further into the summer, we're now at June 29th. And this is on Loveland Pass. And there's this little pull off with this little lake. We were shooting a review of the A7R4, and that video will be linked below. And the sunset was kind of coming in, and clouds are moving around, and I just really enjoyed this view of the lake with the with this peak behind, and kind of the mood and the aesthetic is this was with the A7R4 and the 85 1.4 GM, so it's a panorama, which I like shooting at 85. 7200 is now my 85, but yeah, a lot of fun. And this is from Music Pass. This is, I believe, Tierras Peak down in Sangre de Cristo. And there's not a vlog for this one, but this was a fun day because our daughter, who was born in late 2019, was finally ready to kind of go outside and go for a hike and get in our backpack rig for her. And so we drove up the Music Pass, which is kind of a somewhat technical four-wheel drive road. A lot of fun, not too hard. And then we hiked up, and there's this just amazing view. I've really enjoyed some of those shots, but this is probably my favorite. It's kind of a portrait, if you say, like Brandon on our channel, he says I shoot portraits of mountains is kind of what I do, and it's true. This is kind of a great example of that. And a thunderstorm, a pretty serious thunderstorm, rolled in not too long after. We kind of had to book it back down the trail to the car and then get down that four-wheel drive trail before the rain really hit. Yeah, I really enjoy this area. We'll definitely be going back and making some videos there. Next, we have on a climb of Huron Peak in the Sawatch Range of Colorado. Another storm rolling in over, this is 14er La Plata. This is with the 70-180 on the A7R4. And I kind of like these storm coming in shots. There's just so much drama. It's mountain drama. I know that it can kind of lead to a dangerous scenario, but I really like it. I kind of like this is just kind of an above timberline, kind of those gems you can kind of get. It's a good example of that. And La Plata is a very, we've climbed that one, and it's a very interesting mountain, the kind of the Sawatch Range right in that area that's just so rugged. And so yeah, this is kind of a moody, stormy shot, and I really like the way it turned out. I like the light direction and the foreboding storm coming in. Just lots of drama, which I like. And then all right, so we're jumping further ahead into the summer. This is Blue Lakes, we have a video of this trip, and this is Astro. This is part of Dallas Peak, hovering over the lower Blue Lake, and we got the Milky Way behind it. I really like the way it turned out, the Milky Way coming out. It's one of those where we set up right after sunset and then just shot shots until we kind of got the Milky Way where we wanted it, and it really turned out. And this was with the when I switched equipment back, I did also switch kind of back to Nikon and was shooting some with Sony and Nikon together. And we have another video kind of talking about how and sort of why why I was doing that. And this is with the Nikon Z7 with the 20 millimeter 1.8. So actually the next few shots are from the next day, which I would say it was a very kind of fruitful photography day. And they're all with the Z7. And this is that same lake in the morning. I just, love the color of these blue glacial lakes. They get the glacial silt in it or something that causes this blue color, but it's just absolutely beautiful. And you have flowers and stuff in the foreground. And my wife Emily says this is one of her favorite shots that I've taken. She just loves the way that it feels. And then this is further up the trail towards kind of the middle Blue Lake. I don't know if it's called that, but it's kind of in between the upper and then the lower one. And this is Mount Sneffels, 14er Mount Sneffels, kind of hovering over it. And I just kind of liked the way the light was dancing around, coming through the clouds, and the true rugged nature of the San Juans kind of comes out in these next couple too, because the next one is from the upper one, and then you have this is part of Gilpin Peak up there, but the rugged tones of the San Juans with the greens and the copper and all of that is just really interesting. And then still the lights you can see some rays kind of coming through, and the lights kind of just dancing around with these clouds rolling fast very quickly. Actually, it was windy, kind of a windy day. So yeah, and then on the way back down, here's this middle Blue Lake again. I just liked the kind of the way the triangular reflection of the shot, and just kind of the trail kind of going through on the left side of the frame. I think kind of takes you there to this spot. And about 20 minutes later, we had a downpour that we sprinted to our tents, dived into our tents to avoid, and hung out for about 45 minutes before heading back down. So now we are going to Wyoming. It was super, super smoky in Colorado. So smoky that we had plans to go down and climb a 14er Uncompahgre down near Lake City. And it was so smoky in all of Colorado that we're like, well, maybe we can escape to Wyoming and go take some shots at this spot that I'd heard about in the Wind River Range, the Green River Lakes area. And we didn't really escape the smoke. But what we did do was get a taste of an area that, I think I'm gonna want to go back to a lot. Really, the Wind River Range is everything it's cracked up to be. Kind of a Yosemite on crack, kind of is what it feels like. Just like huge glacier walls, glacial carved walls, and it's just really something. And this is my favorite shot from that morning. Still super smoky. We didn't get to hike as much as we wanted. We wanted to really kind of get in and beyond this, and it was so smoky. It wasn't really great for our lungs or any of that, but I leaned into the mysterious smokiness of the Wind River Range that day, and and this is Square Top Mountain. So that was an enjoyable trip. If there's not a vlog out, it will be out very soon of this one, which I will make sure gets linked in the description. Kind of a fun day. And next, we're going to Capitol Lake. This was in late September, September 29th, on a not super freezing, but still pretty cold evening. And we'd pushed and pushed to try to get up to Capitol for sunset. Didn't quite make it for true sunset, but set up and shot some astro and really got fortunate with the Milky Way here, kind of where it was, and then you had a little bit of glow from the moon rising, and it just really kind of turned out into this kind of really, I really love this shot of Capitol, this kind of behemoth, intimidating behemoth in the Aspen area of Colorado, and then the lake here, the long exposure kind of causing it to kind of blur a little bit. It just really, it was a fun evening, and a shot I'm happy with kind of coming out of it. The next morning, we hiked back to the car, and there's these amazing aspen forests right in that area around the Capitol. And this is kind of one of my favorite shot in that forest, just kind of the true golden, just like mind-blowing feeling of kind of standing in a thick aspen forest like that with the orange light filtering down and the sun peeking through. Like I think we've talked about on some of the vlogs before that the sun, being high in the sky when there's aspens, it's like one of the few times that you really want the sun just like high in the sky to get the orange light, the golden orange light from the aspens. It's really fun. So, and also I can mention that these last few shots, going back to the Wind River shots, have all been with the R5. I have switched to the R5 at this point and sticking with the R5 at this point, definitely. So Toby and I went on this backpacking trip, and it was so beautiful. I had planned a weekend with my wife and daughter, kind of a week and a half later or so, and I'm like, we'll have to take her here. The trees are still good, and so we went and we kind of did a hike and went down into these aspen forests and had a great time. And then we stayed for sunset, and then we got the sunset that I was hoping for at the lake before. And it's in a lot of ways I like it even better. You have you kind of get these trees in the foreground, and then the light just hitting Capitol just was phenomenal. And I've got two shots here from that sunset. I've had even more. I had a hard time picking. That's kind of how happy I was with that sunset. And so these are the two. You kind of got this wide shot of the valley, and you really almost can see the trail going up to the lake, and then the light hitting it. Just so it just kind of captures that Colorado intense feeling with the aspens and all of that. And then here's a kind of a close up of Capitol with the sun hitting this lower part, and then at the summit. And just was so moody, and this is the kind of shot that I love. It's like this mountain portraiture, like we've talked about, and all the little places that the light's hitting, just like right on here. I just really, really enjoy this shot. So a week later, not even that, we went down to the San Juans and to the Sneffels area. Again, and the Ouray County Road 7, and so this is one of the shots. This is the sunrise shot that of Sneffels here, and I liked. It was still smoky. The entire second half of 2020 was just super smoky in Colorado with all the wildfires and kind of disturbing and scary. Even some of the places that we really love were threatened or partially destroyed. So it's kind of sad. It's been a really interesting, hard year with that. But the sun kind of punched through, and kind of we get a great light on the top of Snuffles here, and kind of the hazy mood, and then the bright aspens down below. The San Juans in Colorado, what's nice is that the San Juans, most of Colorado starts middle of September with the aspens, but the San Juans are always a little later. So you kind of get to double dip. You can go to the Aspen area or the Breckenridge area and get some great aspen shots, and then go back down to the San Juans and get more a week later. So that we always enjoy doing that. And here's another aspen shot from that same area. I think it was even at the same, like the tripod was at the same spot. I just zoomed in another little area. And what this shot is kind of, what I like about this shot is that my grandfather, who's had his paintings in this gallery for quite a while, he has a painting of aspens that it's called Aspen Song. And I kind of saw this and I'm like, oh wow, that is a composition that looks a lot like Aspen Song. I'll throw up a shot of that painting. And he actually passed away earlier this year. And so this was kind of a little, I don't know, paying homage to him moment, kind of in honor of him moment of seeing that painting kind of composition like out in the wild and then trying to capture it. I kind of did my own spin with the edit. Kind of pulled some of the same tones, and it's not obviously not a carbon copy, but I kind of liked that, and then I liked the way that this shot kind of turned out. And then last one from this area, this is later in the morning. I just really kind of like the glowing, ethereal feel. Again, I guess like is the word because it was the smoke that was causing it, but it just was very ethereal. Feel with the way the smoke kind of descends down on the mountains during the day, the higher the sun gets. And so, but I kind of felt like this kind of captured kind of a mood, and I like the way that the summit of Snuffles here is really glowing. So yeah, this is kind of a fun, very wide shot, and this was a panorama with the 7200. Yeah, I think all three of these shots with the 7200. So, which that RS 7200 is a phenomenal lens, the 2.8. And then we back to the Aspen area to shoot the maroon bells in early November. It was kind of funny. We actually decided to go on election day. We had already voted, of course, and it was just the day that worked weather-wise and everything else. So Toby and I got in the car at midnight, drove up there and shot sunrise, and then drove home and to watch the election results roll in. And I kind of just those early November mornings in Colorado are fun because there's snow and there's ice and there's cold, but it's not so much as to be overwhelming to get there. And you can kind of see the ice sitting on this lake, and then the snow that's on the mountains just kind of gives them a lot of texture, and then you have the sun just kissing the summit there, and so kind of a frosty, beautiful morning at the Maroon Bells. Then I got this texture shot of kind of a shoulder of Pyramid Peak, which is right by the Maroon Bells. And I just liked the way the light was dancing on this ridge. And this kind of shot is the one I geek out the most about, these zoomed in kind of texture shots almost, portraiture, shots. And so this isn't the summit of Pyramid by any means. It's just kind of a part of it, but it kind of captures that rugged, harsh but beautiful mountain feeling that kind of I love to capture. And then This last shot is the last black and white. We always kind of try to get down to the San Grade Cristos, and we were hoping to the South Colony Lake area, and we were hoping we were early enough that we weren't going to have to deal with a ton of snow, and we were wrong. We had to deal with a ton of snow, way more than we were thinking, and we were post-holing for hours. But we got into a spot and kind of hiked up a little gully, and I was able to get this telephoto shot of the Cristo Needle, and there were clouds descending. The sun was low enough in the sky that the clouds descending on the horizon behind us, because it was actually blue sky behind the needle here. The sun was still peeking out, but the summit actually went into shadow, and I was like, wow, that's going to make an amazing black and white, and it really turned out. I was happy with it. I guess it was worth all the suffering on that road. And so yeah, so that kind of wraps up my my photography year in review that this video is. I hope that that you kind of enjoyed looking back at these shots with me, and maybe they inspired you, and I would encourage you to look at your own photography if you're a photographer, and look back and think about like where you started, where you went, kind of what you were focused on, and then kind of help you to think about where you want to go with it in 2021. If we can get out more and do more cool stuff, to kind of get excited about what's possible. So thank you for watching. If you again, you should check out all of the corresponding videos with these. Most of these have videos to go with them that kind of go over the day, and it's kind of fun to see how we captured them. If you and then we have other videos talking about camera gear, and we have a podcast. So we hope that if you like this video, go ahead and like it, and then subscribe to our channel if you're interested in any of that stuff. So thanks so much. Bye.